If you want to play music more easily, and you already know that ear training is an important part of that, here are some ways to use a much-loved children's pedagogy for your needs, no matter what age you are. I'm Hans Indigo Spencer, and I built holistic ear training around the experiences that I had teaching through a method that brings out the play, the joy, and the love of music, singing, and dancing to elementary school kids. I discovered it in grad school, where I was really inspired by how the method makes learning to listen, and listen deeply, a natural and integral part of learning to make music. It was developed by the Hungarian composer and ethnomusicologist Zoltan Kodàly in the 20th century and is widely used by master teachers around the US. I've adapted elements of his approach into my method for adults, and here's a few of them and how you can apply them right away. A big one that totally blew my mind is a 3-stage process that gets your heart, your ears, and your mind totally wrapped around a musical element you want to learn. In the first stage, you engage with a song or multiple songs that feature the element. You aren't worried about what it's called. You might not even know what it sounds like, but what you're doing is you're loading your unconscious to master that element. This stage is called preparation. In the second stage, you name the element. That's it. It happens in a flash. And in fact, it happens in a flash best when you're totally prepared to make that element conscious. This part of the process is called presentation. Finally, you practice using the element. You read music containing the element, you play music containing the element, and you listen to music and seek the element. This is called the practice phase. This practice phase lasts a good little while and actually continues even as you prepare your unconscious for future elements. Let's get down to specifics and find out how this thing works. First, what's a musical element? A musical element can be a specific rhythm, a melodic pattern, a chord progression, or even just one note in the scale. Let's walk through seeking to internalize a very simple element. And in the spirit of the process, I'm not going to tell you what it is. Notice that this phase uses actual music. In fact, the whole process uses actual music. There is nothing abstract about it. We stay connected to our senses and the experience of listening to and making music. In fact, the first part of this phase is just learning the song. You probably know this, so I'm going to play it through one time and just allow yourself to listen holistically. Listen as though you were sitting by a window on a rainy day. And if you need to listen to it multiple times, you can just rewind. So at this point, I'm going to assume you know the song and can sing it on your own. In a Kodály music classroom, we collect dozens and dozens of songs that support each element. But for this video, we'll just stick with this one, Rain, Rain, Go Away. Remember, this process works for any melodic or harmonic or rhythmic element you want to learn, even complicated ones. So now let's continue to prepare this element. We want to activate our different intelligences, our auditory, our verbal, our visual, and our kinesthetic. Let's run through a very abbreviated set of preparation activities that will give you the idea of how we develop your sound sense for the element without naming it. Now, that's a very important sound before symbol precept. We're involving ourselves with the sound of this thing without worrying about the names. If you need time to consider each one, just pause the video. Here's rain, rain. Which of those two, the first or the second, is higher than the other? Now you can use your body or even just your fingers to help you focus on the highness and the lowness of each tone. I find older students prefer to use smaller muscle groups. So let's go with just pointing in the air. And if you said the first rain is higher, you are correct. Next, do we sing the word go on the same tone as the first or the second rain? We use our voice, humming or singing, to focus our mind on discriminating these two pitches. And if you said that go is the same height as the first rain, you are right. Now let's see here. Rain, rain, go, We're going to put the on the same height as the go. Go away, right? Rain, rain, go away. And we can continue. Way is on the lower. Way, come, that's on the higher. Come, and then again is on the lower. And then, is that on the same as the first one? Rain. Or this one? Rain. Or is that on something completely different? Yeah, that's our rogue note in this song. And you may be able to do this in a flash, and you may not. If you take time to think through this material, that's okay. This will get faster and faster for you. And if you're already lightning fast, focus instead on the methodology that I'm presenting you. Okay, now we have the lyrics arranged in a way that reflects the shape of the melody. We might notice that it is mostly two notes with that rogue higher one. In a Kodály music program for young people, we activate kinesthetic intelligence and auditory senses as well. For example, children are eager to express their understanding of melodic shape by tapping on their heads, shoulders, and chests to describe the high, middle, and low notes. So you could do it like this, like you might even be able to hear the song while I point. And now I'll make a mistake. I want you to tell me, or just think, which word the mistake happens on. So now you're really audiating. You're really imagining this music in your mind, and you're becoming more flexible. It's starting to unhook from its source model song. And in the Kodály music program for young people, we repeat these different activities, these preparation activities, with a whole battery of songs, so that when it's time to present the element, they're really, really ready. And you want to do that too. Now we are ready to name the element we are preparing. Returning to our diagram of the lyrics, I'm now going to tell you that Rain, Rain is sung on the scale steps so and mi. So and mi. I'll also show you where they sit on the staff. And if you're curious, I'll mention that so mi embodies a descending minor third. Notice that for now, we are only interested in the descending interval. We will save the ascending interval for later because they really do sound different. Now you know what so mi, a descending minor third, sounds like and where it fits in the scale. With the practice phase, we roll up our sleeves and get ready for work. With the element of so mi named and ready for action, we begin applying it to real music. We can practice it with call and response like this. So I'll play, and then I'll sing. So, mi, 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 mi. And now I'll play, and I'll sing. So, 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 mi, mi. So being able to practice a call and response is very helpful. You can also improvise. Now that you know so and mi, you can just walk around. So mi, so mi, all day long. Now this is a particular childlike melody, so to me. It's in fact found all over the world, sung by children in every culture, has this so mi quality. So it's a great place to start with children. If you're an adult, you might begin with an element that has a different quality, like a major scale or a dominant seventh chord. Something like that. But for now, with this outline, we're sticking with so and mi. We also practice finding it in other songs we know. We're seeking so and mi. So here's one where I know what it is. listen to it in this famous song, we're listening for what words carry so and me, or so me. Somewhere in there is hidden so and me. So savor through it in your mind. I bet you can find which words carry so and me. So I bet you can sing it like this. So me say, can you see? You can also sing it like this. So me say, me so see. And you might be even several steps ahead and able to identify the note that's sung on oh say, that one, and that one. If that's you, comment below on your way to liking and subscribing. Now, as you in your grown-up sophistication can no doubt guess, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and I'm using the most elementary material to illustrate the pedagogy in its elegant three-stage process. Now, this is the pedagogy that I use teaching public schools in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and in elementary schools in Portland, Maine. So now in developing holistic ear training, I've taken these approaches of Kodály and blended them with other more advanced ear training techniques that incorporate jazz, pop, R&B, even classical music that I got in grad school and have used ever since as a working jazz musician and composer. So head on over to tuneindigo.com for more.